Hi friends, it's Sally. Before we start at the episode, I am going to tell you one last time that I wrote a book and it comes out tomorrow, September 10th. If you haven't already, please order a book. And if you have ordered a book, the number one thing you could do to help this book get pushed out to a wider audience is to leave a review. Wherever you ordered it through, but especially if you ordered it on Amazon, apparently the magic number is 50 reviews to make the algorithm push it out to people. All you have to say is, I like this book. It was fun. It was literally the best book I've ever read in my entire life. You know, something simple like that. I really appreciate all of your support and the love that you guys have given me. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
And now it's time for the Ridiculist.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list?
A list?
A list?
A list?
You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous.
Welcome to the Ridiculist. I'm Sally Brooks.
And I'm Jen O'Neill, and we are back with more fun lists for you this week.
Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
How do I look different? Do I look illuminated?
You do. I was going to say you look illuminated this week. Something changed about you?
I got a ring light. I just, I've heard many comments about how crappy my video looked. And get it. I know it. I hope this helps. I don't know if I'm doing it right. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think the angle's weird, but here we are.
You look amazing. You? I'm good. I've spent all day painting.
Ooh, pottery or house?
No. So have I talked about this? That I got a shed. I've got a shed in my backyard. Shed? Nope, it's not a she shed. I refuse.
You won't.
I reject.
Will not.
I reject that moniker.
Just like we reject mommedian. No offense to our friends that are mommedians, but Sally and I reject the phrase.
Yes, it's like every time I'm like, oh, we got a shed. Everybody's like, she shed. I'm like, no, it is not a she shed.
Just a shed.
It's a studio, and Ben likes to call it the tiny house. And I'm like, it's literally a room. It's a room.
It's a tiny house.
It's a teeny tiny house. But so we got it a couple months ago, and it's like was unfinished inside. So this week we had someone come out and they did all the insulation and electricity and drywall. And so it is all ready for me to move in. And by move in, I don't mean like I'm going to go live there, but I'm going to my pottery wheel and like art stuff, and I can like work out there, and I bought some chairs, and so I'm so excited.
That's so awesome. I love that. So you won't do it like let friends in there?
No, it's just mine. You can't come. No, I actually was like, oh, this would be a fun place to like just have like a little like wine and hang out. And I mean, it's gonna have to not be in the summer because it doesn't have air conditioning, but I put like up a screen. It's gonna be great.
Nice.
You can come.
We'll come in the fall. Okay,
you can come hang in my tiny studio in the fall.
It's just a studio, just like any other studio.
Just like any other studio. Yeah.
It's like you don't call dad medians.
We should.
Men that have like comics that have kids are just comics.
Yeah,
but
they're not like daddy comics.
Yeah, daddy comic. But I guess they have, what do they call them? Man caves or whatever, which I also hate the term man cave.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh, we just call them rooms and spaces for human beings. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing all day. I'm priming, I'm getting things ready, and I'm getting ready to move in at some point. So, what about you?
Nothing much, just work. Oh, I wanted to say I did have someone a listener reach out and give me their story, which I always love when, like, we post an episode and then people text us or message us or
Yeah.
reach out to us. Luis Sandoval, a friend of mine, said that he said, finally heard the new episode, very much missed it. Reminded me of the
Aw.
time my 10th grade class got suspended for a week because the janitor found a joint in the corner of the classroom. Parents complained and we were told not to come back, or to come back after 2 days. Except me and my best friend intercepted the phone call and took the whole week off anyway. I asked for some clarity and he said that, yeah, like, I guess they called back. They were told to, everybody got suspended and then they all got phone calls telling them to come back. And they pretended, him and his friend pretended that they never got the phone call or whatever. So,
Oh, that's hilarious.
nobody ever knew. That's awesome.
A free week off, man.
That's
I get
so
suspended
funny.
from work.
That's such a like seventh heaven kind of reaction to a joint in the classroom.
Every single kid getting suspended.
Yes, like the
Yeah.
whole school shutting down because there was a joint in the classroom. That's so crazy to me. I feel like that would be like, most teachers would just pick it up and put it in their pocket and save it
Yeah.
for later,
Be like, score.
Whatever.
And
That's
like the
one
janitor found it. What a narc.
Exactly. That's one less joint in a student's hands, and they should
Exactly.
have been good with that.
I used to, when I was, and this is very funny because I was like a senior in college and I was a RA at the dorm. I was like we would have to patrol every night. And if we found alcohol, we would have to take it and confiscate it. And then we would just drink it because we were also college students. And so it was like how we got free alcohol. And we were supposed to pour it out, but we never did.
When you were shown how to be an RA, like when you get the tour of RAing, where they like, and this is where we keep our alcohol that we confiscated, and then we party with it later. Like, were you brought in on that, or is that just something that you took?
Oh yeah, no, that was like what everybody did. Like all the students, like who were the RAs, we're just like, and then you have to pour it out. We were like, pour it out, okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I love that, Louise. That's great. Should we get to our list?
Let's do it.
I have a fun one. My list this week. Well, my list this week is from Billboard.com. It was compiled by Hannah Daly, and it is 75 best breakup songs of all time.
Ooh, okay.
Do you have any, do you have a favorite or any, favorite breakup songs?
A lot of them are Beyonce. Beyonce's Lemonade was the soundtrack of my life for a while.
Yeah.
But my favorite, angry running song, Beyonce song, was the Don't Hurt Yourself. That was my favorite one. It's like, if you hurt me, you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you lie to me, you're lying to yourself. And then, it's a good one. Listen to all the lyrics, but that's a really good, fun, powerful one to angry run to. Yeah, it's good.
I love that. Well, you can tell how it's been a very long time since I was angry breakup songy, because I one of them is that Jeff Buckley song, Last Goodbye.
Oh yeah, that's such a heartbreaking song.
That's a heartbreaker. And then Bob Dylan's Don't Think Twice, where he's just like, it's don't think twice, it's all right. Go. Just leave, go. I don't care. And I'm like, oh, that's such a good, fuck off.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Okay, so I'm not going to do all of them because there's 75, but I will start at 25. 25, I feel like this is a perfect one for our generation, and it is Natalie Imbruglia's Torn. Yes.
Yeah. Love that. Nobody could pull off that haircut like Natalie Imbruglia. I think we all went and got that haircut, but then we're like, oh, it only works on her.
Like, oh, I need to
No,
be
that
a
little
tiny little
cute
pixie
pixie.
lady.
Exactly. Now I just look like a
Yes.
fat Karen.
Yeah. Okay, so 24 is Fleetwood Mac's Landslide.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one.
That's a rough one. So I
Yeah.
mean, people don't know, that is like Stevie Nicks singing to, is it Mick Fleetwood? Like while they're still in the band together, that they are like, is that right?
Is that who it was? No, I thought it was the other guy,
No,
Lindsey
I don't.
Buckingham. Yeah, it was Lindsey Buckingham.
Okay, so I'm like, for those of you that don't know.
I actually, what's crazy is I actually like listened with, I read it with my ears, her autobiography like last year, so I should have known that, but it went in one ear and out the other, I suppose.
Number 23 is Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive.
Yeah, that's such a good one. That's a fun one.
Yes, that's a good, like, I'm back. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Yeah, I realized I said the first words and then didn't know the rest of them.
And actually, that was wrong. The words are, and now you're back from outer space.
Here without that look upon your face.
It's okay. We're mom singers now.
So yeah,
Sing everything wrong.
Yep. I always have been. Always have been. Always will be. Number 22. I feel like this should be higher. It is Sinead O'Connor's "Nothing Compares to You."
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, that is like a song. Like sometimes, I think there's two varieties, maybe probably more, of breakup songs. They're like the ones that are just like, fuck you, I'm better than this, get the hell out of here. And then the ones that are like, I'm so heartbroken.
Yeah, I got it. I like the fuck you ones.
I do too.
I'm not a sit around and cry kind of gal. I'm okay. Fuck
I
off,
will say
now
that
move
like
on.
in the phase of my life where like I've been in a relationship, sometimes I do like the cry ones because it's like good to just get out emotions.
Cathartic.
Because I'm not actually like attaching them to a relationship. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm like more on the fuck you, I'm moving on. And in that vein is 21 is Carly Simon's You're So Vain.
Yeah, I like that one. Who did they say that it ended up being about? Don Johnson?
Yeah, I think it was about Don Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Number 20 is the 1975 Somebody Else, which is, I don't know.
I don't know that song either.
It says Matt Healy hits you right where it hurts with this one, not wanting to be with your ex, but not wanting them to be with anyone else either. Ouch.
Well, he dated Taylor Swift, which means I would probably have no idea about his music and somebody that age. Know what I mean? I do know that they dated though because I have Instagram.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. I feel like I have nothing against Taylor Swift. I really am like, I think great. She's great. I just I don't know any of her music. I feel like it's just like it has passed me by and I just have no attachment. And I'm like, it's like, I'm so glad that people have someone that they love and that they're so like, into. It's just not for me, I guess.
This is so funny. I just got a memory this morning sent to me from Facebook. They send you memories of something you wrote or whatever. And it was August 30th of 2019. I wrote, most children are super into Taylor Swift, but mine can't stop singing 1877 Cars for Kids. And boy, was I wrong about that, because cut to, like, my son could care less about Taylor Swift, but my daughter is obsessed with Taylor Swift. Obsessed.
Yeah, that mostly, I was going to say, most of the women that I know that are my age are into Taylor Swift because they have daughters that are into it. And I can totally see if I had a kid that was really into it, I would, that would be a fun thing to share.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Max is into BTS. So
That's awesome.
Okay, number 19 is Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah.
Oh yeah.
Which I guess I didn't really know was a breakup song.
I guess I didn't either, but it's a really good song.
It is a good song. Number 18 is Toni Braxton's Unbreak My Heart.
Oh yeah.
Unbreak my heart. Say you love me again.
That's a good karaoke song.
Yes.
We're doing that one when we go.
Oh man, we gotta take this whole list.
You call me one other no. Walked out of my life. Okay.
Cry these tears.
Cry too many nights.
That's what you would hear if you were like outside of our
Outside
karaoke
the
room.
door, yeah. No music, just the sounds of a sheep getting slaughtered.
Yep. Number 17 is Barbra Streisand's The Way We Were. Number 16 is another Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm wondering, well, I don't want to jump around, but is Silver Springs on there? The most like moving clips I've ever seen is like her singing in Lindsey Buckingham. It's like a clip that it was like from the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
They were at a concert and they were singing Silver Springs and she was like in his face singing it. And he was like, fuck, I really like I fucked up.
I done fucked
But
up.
it's so intense, yeah.
Number 15 is Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You.
Oh yeah. You know, I really feel like I loved the Whitney Houston version of that in the movie The Bodyguard, but I feel like we were kind of done a disservice as children of being introduced to that song. Like that's what we equate that song to.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't equate it with Dolly Parton, the person that wrote it. I equate it with like the Whitney Houston The Bodyguard soundtrack.
And I mean that's because that video too was so like iconic. It was just like hit MTV at like the exact right time. Yeah. Number 14, Olivia Rodrigo, Driver's License, which I know was a big song a couple years ago, but I don't think I've ever heard it. So,
if it's about a kid getting his driver's license, I've already checked out. I don't like watch teen dramas. I don't listen to like whatever. I can't get into it because I'm like, you're babies.
Yeah,
but I know a lot of adults that can.
I used to love like teen stuff, but I don't know if it was like having a kid or just getting older where I'm like, this is not for me. This is not for me. I don't, I can't relate to this at all. Like show me a 40-year-old mom losing her shit.
Yeah.
Show me someone struggling in. Somebody who's had some life experiences.
Give us Reba, okay?
Give me Reba, damn it. Give me some Reba. Okay. Number 13 is Mariah Carey's We Belong Together.
That doesn't sound like a breakup song, but okay.
Okay, so it says lyrics like, who am I gonna lean on when times get rough? Who's gonna talk to me till the sun comes up?
Oh. It's such like a light poppy song.
We belong together.
I wouldn't have thought. She seems pretty casual about like she could take her leave if she's gonna get back together with this person or not.
Right.
You know? Just like a light suggestion, like we belong together. But just do what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Number 12 is Imogen Heap, Hide and Seek. Number 11, The Beatles, Yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know that I knew was a breakup song.
I didn't know that either. I thought it was just a song about like getting older.
Okay, number 10, which I think is kind of funny, is NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
Yeah.
So Max has recently, he got me because I asked, he's like, has a Switch. And so I was like, hey, you know what I would really like to get is Just Dance. And I think that'd be really fun for us to play together. And he was like, okay. So he bought it for me, which Ben bought it for me. But one of the songs on there is Backstreet Boys. Can't remember which one.
Everybody. Backstreet's
Yes.
back.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. So that's one of the songs.
Yeah.
So Max has recently got into Backstreet Boys, and then he discovered that we in our car, because our car sold, have a CD player. And so he's like so fascinated by CDs because he's like, what's this? And like he just thinks it. So he bought a Backstreet album, Millennium, and has been playing it nonstop. And I was like, oh, if you like Backstreet, maybe you'll like NSYNC. And so I tried to play Bye Bye Bye, and he was like, they're just not as good as Backstreet's.
Wow. Wow. Some people would beg to differ with Max.
I was like, wow, you could have been a teen in the 2000s.
That's so funny.
Okay, number 9 is Adele's Someone Like You.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Someone Like You. Yeah, that's a good one. Number 8 is Lord's Supercut, which I do not know.
I do not know that either.
But it says the combined pain of saying goodbye to a relationship and reconciling yourself to the mistakes you made isn't an easy thing to capture in just one song, but Lord is no ordinary songwriter. So it sounds like maybe we should give it a listen. Number 7 is Alanis Morissette, You Oughta Know.
Oh yeah, that's iconic. Yeah.
Yes. That's I would say that's way up there. In
And
terms
definitely
of just
about Dave Coulier. He even says it's about him. He's like, definitely it's about me.
Yeah. Number 6 is Amy Winehouse, Back to Black.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Whitney Houston's number 5 is Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing.
Oh yeah, I love that. Isn't that from the Bodyguard soundtrack?
Yes, it's also from the Bodyguard soundtrack.
Okay.
Number 4 is SZA. Is that SCA? Is that SZA?
I have no idea.
Shit.
So Google it.
Okay, hold on.
Singer and songwriter whose name is not particularly obvious to guess the pronunciation of if you just look at how it's spelled. SZA. SZA, how do you go about pronouncing this? Well, it's pretty straightforward once you know. SZA.
SZA. You were right. That is so funny. That guy, that voice, it's got to be the same person. That's the same guy. Like every time that there's like a new wine that I don't know from like a different region, I don't want to look like an idiot before a tasting. I'll be like, how do you pronounce blah, blah, blah. And then he does that whole thing and he like tells you how to pronounce it. And I thought he was wine specific, but it sounds like he's covering everything. I thought that he was the wine pronunciation guy, but he's the everything pronunciation guy. Wow.
He's like SZA.
He's got to do that all day.
Cote
That's
de
amazing. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, seriously. All right, SZA. Okay, I was right. So yeah, SZA's song "Kill Bill." Do you know
that
it?
Song? No, but I knew the Kill Bill song "Bang Bang."
This says it finds the R&B pop star shamelessly living out a fantasy many of us have at some point, if we're honest with ourselves, murdering an ex in cold blood. Okay.
That's a little intense.
Okay. Number 3, also wouldn't have thought of as a breakup song, is I Want You Back by the Jackson 5.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, Robin, Dancing on My Own.
That's a good one. I like that.
That's a good one. And number 1, which you will, can you have any guesses what number 1 is?
I totally would have thought it was I Will Survive.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that's not number 1. Is it Beyonce's Don't Hurt Yourself, my favorite?
No, it is.
Is it a Beyonce song?
No, it's Taylor Swift, All Too Well, 10-minute version.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Of course it's going to be a Taylor Swift song. Yeah. Awesome.
So I'm curious to know what has been, I think that probably like the breakup songs that come to most of us are the ones that happened when we were going through a breakup that really caught on. So I'm wondering, what is everybody's like number 1 breakup song? are there any that you listen to just to like get yourself fired up? Like I listen to that Jeff Buckley song sometimes just to like
Just to cry.
yeah.
There was Sully is rewatching. My son is now rewatching all of the Offices. He loved it that much.
Yeah.
It took us like months to get through the first time, and now we're doing it all over again. But the episode came on the other day where I think Michael got dumped by Jan, and he kept playing like a clip of that one breakup song. I can't remember what the song was, but it was so funny because he wouldn't pay for the whole song. He just paid for he just like had the free clip
Yeah.
and he kept playing it over and over and over. God, if somebody can remember what song that is, please let us know. But
Chime in.
Funny. Yeah.
Sound off.
Sound off.
All right. So that's my list. Very much influenced by your music list last week.
Yes. I love music lists.
I love music. I do too.
Well, my list this week, it's kind of funny because we mentioned several times in this episode about our age and how old we are. And so this great segue, but this is my list this week is a BuzzFeed article written by Julia Corrigan. And it was from hilarious to annoying. Here are 30 signs that you are for sure getting older.
All right.
Let's hear it. And then underneath it says, I ran into someone on here who had never heard of Johnny Cash. And that is so funny to me because this happened the other night in the green room at the Alley Stage Theater.
Yeah.
It was me and a bunch of young comics, of course. And
Always.
so this guy came up and was like, he's the new like sound engineer guy. And so sometimes they ask you what you want your walk-up song to be. Everybody's always got a joke song at the ready. You know, you can't, we're comics. We're not going to give you a real song. We're going to say something stupid, which usually I would say like Smack My Bitch Up by Prodigy or something like that.
Yeah.
But the other night, he asked if I wanted anything or if I wanted, everybody gave their walk-up song. And then I said, I'll pay one of you guys $50 if you make your walk-up song Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. And all of that, every single person was like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, none of you know who Eric Clapton is. And they were like, no. And then I think it might have been AJ King. I can't remember, but he was like, yeah, that's the guy that killed his baby. And I was like, he didn't kill his baby. And he was like, didn't you like throw his baby out the window? And I was like, no, oh my God. And then like, I was like, I can't be back here. You guys are killing me right now. Like not a single one of you knows who Eric Clapton is. And then somebody brought up somebody not knowing who the Rolling Stones were. And I was like, I can't with any of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is. I have realized like, it's very harsh. Like all of a sudden I have no cultural touchstones with a lot of the comedians that we work with. I'm like, oh, you sweet baby boys.
It's hard.
It's hard.
But I will say this is the side conversation sidebar. But I will say the other night I was thinking to myself about how lovely it was. I was at the Laughing Skull in the green room and it was me and one other woman. And then the rest were all dudes. And all over, like age ranges all over.
Yeah.
And it was the most pleasant conversation about dating.
Yeah.
And guys talking about how like they're tired of the apps, like so now they're doing like they're joining like running clubs and silent book clubs and all these things to try to meet women. And it was just the most like respectful conversation talking about women and to women, asking us what our opinions are, and like I was still keeping it funny and cool, and we're riffing and we're great. And I was just like, oh my God, we have come so long. I could remember times sitting in this very green room, 8-9 years ago, where guys were like, what's the nastiest shit you ever did to a girl? And like, you know what I mean? And and we're all just sitting right there and we're not even part of the conversation. We just like are allowed in the green room while men.
Right. You're like, I'm allowed. I'm allowed here if I like, I'm just one of the guys. Like I just play along. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise I'm harshing their vibe and killing the green room. That made me so happy. And I felt like we came a really long way.
Remember, I told you that the other day. I was like, did shows a couple weeks ago at the Laughing Skull, and it was like me and like 7 dudes under 30, and I remember I was like, they were the sweetest boys. Like every single
Yeah.
one, not that orchestrated, but they all went out of their way to be like, hey, ask me, like, how have you been? What are you working on? You know, like, just were like, I like your hair like that. You know, very like
Yeah.
just so polite and sweet. And their conversations with each other were really cute and like just kind to each other and talking about things that I just was like, oh, this is, yeah, it was very refreshing. I was like, okay, this gives me hope.
Yeah.
For
I
men of the
know.
future and for
It was-
women of the future.
And now we'll go down this list of things that make us old, and we will curse the young. We
Yeah.
will curse all of youth by the end of this list. But no, sweet boys, sweet boys.
Sweet boys.
The number one is when you're entering in your birth date online and you have to keep scrolling. That's true.
Yeah.
It pains me when I like run people's applications and some of them were born after the year 2000, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense though.
Uh-huh.
Fuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're adults. They're
Yeah.
whole adults. Yeah.
Number 2 says, take an accidental fall. If the people around you laugh and you're still young, if they rush to help you, you're old. Ah, that's painful. That's so true.
Oh.
This one says, there's a bunch of little kids at concerts you go to. That's true.
Oh yeah. Well, here's what was at the concerts that we've been going to lately, like when we went to see Flaming Lips, it was a lot of people our age and
with
maybe a
their
little bit
kids.
older with their adult kids,
Ah, yeah.
which was like,
That's worse. Yeah.
yeah. People being like, oh, I remember this album came out when I was your age. And I looked at the dads and they were like my age. And I was like, oh, man.
Fuck. This one says, when the yearly events seem like they happen every few months, time flies. That's true.
Yeah.
This one says, when staying in becomes the best part of the weekend. Yeah, like I love Sunday lazy
Mhm.
Sunday day, not doing anything. That's pretty great. When you think about investing in a good pair of orthopedic shoes, this is true. I've been noticing that my regular running shoes that I use for walking, not
Yeah.
running,
Right.
are now not holding up. And do I need inserts? I might.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I can't remember the last time I wore heels. I can't remember the last time. Yeah, I am like 100% footwear is comfort. And I can't believe that
not
I
worth the
spent so
pain.
much of my life wearing high heels. I just can't.
I know, it's crazy. This one says, when you start noticing that doctors, dentists, etc. are a lot younger than you. Yeah. I know what that one means.
Did I take my doctor? So he's like older than me, but not that much. He's like maybe, I think he said he was like 52. The last time I went, I was like, how are you doing? He's like, well, my wife's pregnant. And I was like, oh, and he was like, oh, she's my age and this is a surprise. We have a grown child. And so
Wow.
yeah, he's like, well, I guess I'm never retiring. And I was like, oh,
painful. But I also think that helps a lot of people to hear, because I know people like in our age that are like our age that are still hoping to have children.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's good. See, people in their 50s.
That's right. On there.
Yeah.
On accident.
This guy just to comment on the doctor one. This one said, I recently met a financial planner, which is another sign of being old, and I had my IRA longer than the guy had been alive. Yikes. Number 10 is, I don't know what skibbity means. I still don't know what skibbity means.
I don't think anybody knows what skibbity means. I mean,
think
I
it
have
means-
I think it's like it's something bad and it's also nonsense.
Yes, I know. There was my daughter had this like dinner with all of her girlfriends and all the moms sat at another table, and then there was this boy that she had a crush on. Or I asked, there were all these boys that kept running around the table and the girls were like giggling or whatever. They were just hanging out in the neighborhood. And I asked Louise, I was like, oh, are any of those do you have a crush on any of those boys? And she's like, well, I did have a crush on Rashad, but he won't stop saying skibbity Ohio. And it's really annoying. And she was like, so I stopped liking him. And I was like, good for you. Like, good for that you. Is annoying.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, he sounds lame.
I know. This one says, regretting making plans, even date night. Hey, I still like making plans. I like going out. I'm not like crazy going out. I like going out and being home by 9 p.m.
Yeah.
That's happy. That's my happy place.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, you know me, I love a canceled plan.
Oh, I know.
But I do also love to make plans.
This one said, I once threw my back out wiping my ass. I've thrown my neck out just drying my hair with a blow dryer.
Oh yeah, I've thrown my neck out
20
just
years ago.
Turning to look at something and been like, well, we're fucked now.
This one says, a notable increase in interest of birds. Oh yeah, I believe that to be true. I know every bird in my backyard and my front yard.
The last time we went dancing, it was very funny. I was talking to Anna, and she was like, oh my gosh, I heard you talking on the podcast about Merlin, the bird app. And she was like, I love it so much. It's the one where you like open it up and it like detects all the birds, like by their bird song, it'll tell you what is in your backyard. And it's so great. I love it so much. And so we're talking about that and we're like, being nerds about it. And then, our friend Alexis comes over and she's like, what are you guys talking about? And it's like, okay, so first of all, we're like all dancing, and she's like, what are you guys talking about? And I was like, oh, nothing. Like there's this like bird app. And she was like, oh, you think I don't know about Merlin? You think I don't fucking know? And she like pulls out her phone
while she's dancing.
And she's like, look at all of these birds I have cataloged. And it's like showing us all the birds in her Merlin bird app. And I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Oh my God, that is so funny. That reminded me of like me and my friend Jill were at an arboretum in Asheville, which I didn't even know how to pronounce arboretum, to be honest with you. I kept calling it an arboretum, and they're like, that's not how you say it. So we're walking around, and I was like, oh, rhododendrons. I thought that the rhododendrons bloomed in June. Is that not right, Jill? Rhododendrons? And I was like, oh my God. And then I stopped myself. I'm like, oh my God, remember we used to do drugs in bathrooms at bars? And now we're sitting here like trying to figure out when the rhododendrons are blooming. What happened?
Oh, yeah.
So funny.
I will tell you like it's like painful when I was with, my friend Erin, who I've known since I was 12, and then Grace, who I've known since I was like 18. And we were all together. Last time we were all together, we're all like looking at something and we all bring out our readers. We were like, oh my God. Because none of us could see. Like,
oh, God.
Oof.
I know. This one says, they used to play oldies in the grocery store. Now it's just the music I love.
That's so true.
That's true. Like Publix plays some freaking bangers.
I know. And I always love when I like walk past another person around my age who's like, really jamming.
Sprouts
and I'm
plays
like,
really good music too. Yeah. It's awful. This one says, waking up very early and hating to wake up a little bit late because you're losing time. I mean, I've always been an early riser, so
I'm not a morning person. I do now, like, I enjoy if I do get up early because I go to bed so early. So like if I feel like I don't have much of a day if I don't get up early, but I'm not a morning person.
Yeah. I have to be. I don't know. So I've been born that way. This one says, having to turn the car radio down in order to see. I definitely do that. I turn the AC down to hear.
Yeah.
I turn the car. Yeah. The radio goes down so I can see. And then if I can't hear something, I turn the AC off. And I'm like, what? Who's talking?
Yeah.
This one says, oh my God, this one is so relatable, is agreeing with the parents in Disney movies. Totally. Now when I watch movies, I'm like, I mean, you're kind of an asshole. Your parents love you. And I would be really worried if you took off on a cross-country journey without telling me. Also, like, or like in Disney TV shows, like they're all just such assholes to their parents.
Yeah.
Like they talk to them like they're just such idiots. Number 23 is all the sexy celebrities look like children. That's true. Yeah, I know. I'm like, ugh.
Like I can't. People are like all about young people. Well, Timothy Chalamet is like, I think the best example of that. Where I'm like, he's such a child. There's nothing like I can't look at him and be like, oh, he's attractive. I'm like, no, he's a child. He's a child.
I will say that I remember there being a time when Zac Efron, everybody was like going crazy about him. And I was like, he is a child. He's a baby. Yeah. He is a baby. And I'm like, oh, he's a man. Now he's a man. And now he's doing movies like making out with Nicole Kidman. And it's like, so now he's a grown man. But it's still just like, no. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you look at him, he's manly and he's grown now. But it's still like, he's like, still like 15 years younger than me or something.
Yeah,
10,
he's
8,
high school
5
musical.
years younger than me. Yeah,
he's probably like. I mean, I think you guys are basically the same age, is what I think.
I'm gonna Google his age. I'm just curious. 36.
Let me guess. 35. Oh,
36.
Okay. Yeah,
that's not so bad.
No, you could totally.
Yeah. Okay. This says when you start getting excited about buying new kitchen appliances. Ain't that the truth? This one's really funny. This one says, I was at a gathering last night where we were discussing who our favorite physical therapist is in town. Because now we strain and twist up our shit all the time, or we learn we've been standing wrong. It's wild. That's so funny. Okay, I'll do one more. And this one's for you, Sally. It says, and finally, when you're getting ready to go out at night and your priorities are dressing warm enough and having comfortable shoes. Yep. Yep. Otherwise, night is ruined. So that's my list this week.
That was a great list. I feel personally attacked, but I love it.
Well, same.
It's just... Here's what I think is what makes it so jarring and why people, like, especially people our age are like, are so surprised by it. It's because we don't feel old until we're confronted by things like that, right? Like where you're confronted by somebody who is like, oh, I'm like when I went back to my college and people were like, when did you graduate? And all of the students, they were like, oh, I hadn't even been born then. And I was like, how can that be, right? I just graduated. I'm so young.
I know.
Or like my friends are taking their kids to college. Like my friend Hadley, her daughter is now living in the dorm that I lived in.
Really?
In college. And
that's
that is
so cool.
Wild because I'm like, I was there when she was born.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. So it's like it's like all of a sudden we're like reminded of our age and it seems, unnecessary.
Yeah. It's actually violent.
Yeah. It's insulting.
I appreciate it.
And rude.
Mm-hmm. And cool. Should we get to our list for this week?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
When this comes out, it'll be the beginning of September. And so end of summer. And so we thought we would do a roundup on our 5 best things we watched this summer.
Yes. Now, this was actually hard for me because, believe it or not, I did not watch a lot of TV this summer.
And
if I did, I kind of binged on one thing. So it was hard for me to pick. So my number 5 is a cheat.
Oh, sorry.
You too?
I would say, I also had I had to text Ben and be like, what did we watch anything? Luckily, I had COVID over the summer.
Oh, thank God.
So I got in a bunch. That was like when I watched everything. All right. So what's your number 5?
So my number 5 is a total cheat. I put my daughter's dance recital because I watched it. I couldn't think of a 5th one. That's all I could do. Okay. So there you go.
Okay. My number 5, I have talked about Taskmaster a million times on this podcast. If you have not watched it by now, then you're dead to me. But we discovered this summer Taskmaster Australia, and it's not exactly the same, but it is still very funny. And while I am all up to date on the regular Taskmaster, it is very great. So number 5 is Taskmaster Australia.
Okay. That's good. I'll check that one out. Number 4.
I know you won't, Jen. I know you won't.
Number 4 is actually a movie. It's called Fly Me to the Moon. My boyfriend Teddy worked on it. He did the lighting for it, and we got to go see it in a like private screening, which was really cool. But so I was like, it's a movie about. I didn't know what it would be about, to be honest with you. I just knew it was a movie with Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum and Woody Harrelson. And I was just like excited to see a movie that he had a part in. But the movie was actually really amazing. And everyone said the same thing. Everybody's like, that was a really good movie. Like, that was a great movie. It was super entertaining. It was funny. It was cool. It felt like an old school rom-com, like meaning old school, like maybe like even like a, like, from like 50s or 60s sort of. It was like really cool. I really enjoyed it a lot. So definitely check it out.
The only thing I know about is I kept seeing like news or I say news, but TikTok or Instagram where they were like, their chemistry is amazing in this movie, Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson.
I don't know if that's true. I think Scarlett Johansson was amazing in the movie. No offense, Chan. I also heard that they're all very nice.
Yeah.
And I think Scarlett Johansson did an amazing job, and I think that Woody Harrelson also did an amazing job. My thing with Channing Tatum, sorry, I just have this thing where I feel like he's always like trying not to laugh while he's saying his lines. Like it almost feels like
everything is said with a wink.
Yes, everything is said with a wink. And like and it just, I don't know. He did a good job. I feel bad that I said that. I'm not an actor. What am I talking about?
I bet he's going to be crushed.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, my number 4 is I think it's called The Incredible Adventures of Dick Turpin. It's a really silly show. It has Noel Fielding in it. And he's like he's a highwayman. It's like pirates kind of old timey. It's just very silly and British, and I really liked it. I think it's on Apple TV. But
okay, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it might actually be fun with your kids.
Okay, good. I'm always looking for good shows to watch with the kids. My number 3 is House. This is another like mom moment. I think I wrote House of Dragons, but I think it's called House of the Dragon.
Is
House of the Dragon.
Do you want me to see if that guy will pronounce it for us? SZA.
Yeah. How do you say House of the Dragon? So I didn't think this would be like a type of show that I would like. I'm not usually a fantasy person, but I like ripped through it. I got so into it. It's on HBO Max. But then, which I've heard that this is a symptom of like ADD. People with ADD is like, I got all the way to the end. I binged 2 seasons, and then I heard someone say the last episode is really long and it'll piss you off, and I'm like, not doing it.
Yeah,
like I won't. I'm gonna watch that. But I've heard that that's a symptom of ADD is when you read like all of the book except for the last 4 pages.
Interesting.
I do that all the time.
Why?
I don't know why. Because sometimes I think I'll just like don't want it to quite end yet, and I'm like, I'll get back to this when I feel like it. But I don't need that feeling of satisfaction of completed. I want the feeling of like, not yet.
Yeah, there's a possibility. It could still go on.
But I also like, if you're gonna tell me that watching like a 90-minute episode and I'm gonna be mad at the end of it, I'm not gonna do it then.
Right.
I don't want to watch. So I haven't watched the end of it, but I really loved everything leading up to it.
Okay, interesting. I was like a huge Game of Thrones person, And then we watched maybe the first episode of House of Dragons, and I was like, ooh, I forgot how violent this is. And
Yeah, it's
I
very
just
violent.
wasn't in the right place for it. So I didn't.
Yeah.
But I need to watch
is.
it because the girl that does my hair is very into it and she wants to talk about it. So
You gotta do it for your hair, girl.
gotta do it for my hair, girl. My number 3 is the TV show Starstruck.
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Yes, with Rose Matafeo. It's also a British show. She's from New Zealand, but that was one that I binged when I had COVID. I think there's 3 seasons. I watched all of them.
Yeah.
I watched all of them. I mean, I liked all of it.
She's
but
really funny. It's a really cute show.
Yeah.
I like it. My number 2 is Industry. Have you watched that? It's on HBO Max.
I don't think I've even heard of it.
It's like it's really fast paced, but there's a lot of like, you know, drama and sex and drugs and whatever, but it's all around like the financial industry, like young people starting out working in it. Based in London, and it's really fun and fast paced, and now the 3rd season, Jon Snow is on it, so
all right,
that's nice.
That's nice. I like that.
That's
good
nice.
For him. Okay, so my number 2 is the 2nd season of We Are Lady Parts.
Oh, I haven't watched that show yet.
Oh, you're gonna love it. Is
that a show Louise could watch?
I don't know. I was just thinking.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, she might love it, and then but I can't remember if it is. I think so. I don't think there is. You'll have to like look it up, but I can't. I'm trying to think of like what's appropriate for a 6th grade girl who's cool. Who gets it. But it is just like, it's so empowering and lovely, and like these women rock and rollers who are Muslim, and it's just really funny and quirky, and you will love it.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely check it out. My number 1 and you're gonna laugh at this, but my number 1 favorite summer watching experience is the new season of Real Housewives of Orange County. They're back and better than ever. I almost gave up on OC years ago.
Yeah,
it was garbage, but now there's just so much new fresh drama, and it's so fun. We had a viewing party at Trackside Tavern in conjunction with our trivia, and it was such a blast.
That's awesome.
And I've been loving every episode since. So for all my Bravo gals out there, and guys, there is a guy that comes to Bravo trivia that wears a t-shirt that says "Real Men Watch Bravo."
I love it.
Make sure you're not sleeping on OC this year, because it's really good.
Okay.
And
I will
juicy.
Pass that along. To people who like Bravo.
Thank you.
I'll let people know. My number 1, I mentioned this last week or the week before, was the Olympics. I got so into the Olympics. Literally was like, Ben and I were watching like 6 or 7 hours of track and field a day. Like we would like save it and watch it the next day. Be like, oh, we got to watch all the qualifiers before we watch the finals tonight. I mean, things that I do not give a shit about. I was like way into. I don't know. It caught me.
I know.
Caught
Olympic
Olympic
fever.
fever.
Bad that I didn't say the Olympics, but I also didn't watch any of it. So
you don't have to. I mean, some years I don't watch any at all. Like I'm not. Yeah. I really am not like. It's not like I'm like, oh, this is so patriotic. It just, I think it was that I was seeing all of them on TikTok and like just how cute and excited they were, and it just made me just really want to root for them, you know.
And you did.
And I did. I really did.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, you guys, okay, so next week is my book release party. So if you are in Atlanta, please come. It's at the Bookbird on September 10th. And it is from 6:30 to 8:30. So you'll be home by 9. But we're going to have good food. Jen will be there. We're going to chat for a little bit, and there'll be music and, wine and fun people.
Good times will be had. And Sally will sign your book, and her book will be there, and that's the most important.
Yes, and I will sign your book. I will sign your book, and my book will be there. So come, and we'll see you. Also, you can find us on Instagram at The Ridiculous Pod, on Instagram at The Ridiculous Podcast, on TikTok. You could rate and review. You could tell a friend. We would love that.
We would love all those things. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week on The Ridiculist.
Ridiculist, ridiculist, ridiculous.